Hey, we're back actually to the UD6 Ultimate Final. We're still live. The crowd is cheering. How are you doing, Mystical?
I got some water for my throat, and now I am ready to yell into this microphone excitedly for the next two games that we have coming up. But we got a bit of caretaking to do. We left you guys on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, actually, we left you right at the end of Metal Slug, and we're going to start showing you the actual leaderboard, how it shook up, because we showed you like Brother Main being like by far in the lead, and he's still in the lead, but it's not by far anymore. Everybody like it shrank down, and at 576, Brother Main is very close to Melwest, who is in second place at 564. At 553 is Devil Tifa, and 541 is Super God. So 10 points between each player, pretty much. And so that means like any single game now can snap the leaderboard in just one. Like, it's going to be crazy. Next up is Trials 2 and Shovel Knight.
So Trials 2 is the kind of game where mistakes come in very small chunks. And not even chunks, little bits here and there. And they can add up, but it's unlikely, I think, to see a 10-point, maybe 10 points. But Shovel Knight is where you can see 10, you can see 20, 30-point swings. So we'll see. We'll see if someone is able to really execute here and there on all the little things that you can do in trials that are, so difficult, really, to execute on consistently. And maybe someone gets hung up, resetting off a couple checkpoint a couple times or something like that. And maybe we'll see some players start to change places on this leaderboard as we get the drums and guitar going for some bike flipping action. Probably my favorite clip we have of gameplay for the season.
It is a pretty exciting one. During the break, you had some insight about like how the player feels and how they're doing. Anyone gave a word about Trials 2?
Not specifically Trials. Brother Main is still, having the lead, even after losing some time on Metal Slug, still feels really good going into these last two games. Obviously worried about Shovel Knight. I think everyone's always a little worried about how Shovel Knight goes. But with his lead and his skill, he's feeling really good about where he's at. Super Link God, we were wondering, was clearly showing some disappointment on some of those things that happened in a story about my uncle. But with a bit of reflection, he knew that was his weakest game. He feels like he did a pretty good job of shoring up his weaknesses there, and he feels okay. It's sort of the expected result, and I think we should see, Super Link God at his best, like we saw in Grand Finals. So we'll see. We can take a look at the PBs here. Super Link God is a little bit behind on Trials, so we'll get a sense for where he's at here up against a challenge with these other players.
It's going to be interesting for sure to see, because 1309, 1341, and 1329 for Melwest, Brother Main, and Devil Tifa, they're almost exactly tied with times between 223 points and 228. That means they mastered Trial 2. They're not doing like the very crazy IL stuff, but no one can ask anyone to do that, like on any game, but especially Trials 2, because let's remember, it's a very like arcade game, like very tricky to get the inputs right, and it's very analog, like you don't do anything the same way exactly the same time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affect to be on live, because it's probably one of the games that is going to be the most different for them, like the way it feels and stuff. Like I'm not worried. I'm thrilled to see if like the players actually do better, maybe like on different setting, because they took like bad habits on the game for the few last months. We don't know what can happen specifically on that game.
Yeah, so I wonder how it goes, right? If you've got a game where you've got like very clear visual cues, like here's where I jump, here's where I attack. Are those guiding posts as we get counted down here? 2, 1, go. Do those serve as guiding posts in this crazy sea of faces and lights and sound and show? Or are you unable to focus on those, and now you have nothing to go off of? Whereas with Trials, you're relying on your intuition a lot of the time. Your bike is never going to come off these jumps the same way. It's never going to land quite the same way. So you're always constantly having to make little adjustments. And so, making the little adjustments you need to deal with the tense situation that they're in might go perfectly with this game. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, we'll see. We see a lot of people, players resetting exactly when they cross a checkpoint just to get exactly what they want, where they want to be. The category is beats all the easy and medium tracks, so it's a 21 level long trek through the game pretty much, and it's fairly long for the easy part, but the tracks are actually pretty manageable. And then there's this big like step in difficulty at the middle of the run, and it gets crazy.
So we've got a couple of key points here for trials in terms of optimizing your movement. If you're unfamiliar with trials, then this will help. If you are familiar with trials, let me just say. Trials 2, very different from like Trials Fusion or some of the trials that are more popular that you might know. Much less control over your bike in this game.
Oh, no!
A flip from Mel West. That would have looked really cool if he didn't snap his neck on that rock. Yeah. Your head is... again with Mel West. All right, but he did have the checkpoint on top of the rock, so he's going to be able to recover here. He's doing flips, man. He can't stop flipping. I like seeing it. I don't like seeing that bike wipe out. Barely. Devil Tifa got his back tire kicked up there in a weird way, but he managed to hold on.
It's very close between the player. Superling got dying where Mel West actually passed the gap, and Brother Main is just ahead by a tiny bit, but Devil Tifa actually caught up as I was saying that, so Devil Tifa is currently in first place. A very big jump here, and you have to know exactly how to land because you want your back tire to be there, so you actually have some like acceleration, and torque comes from your back wheel, so it has to stay on the ground as much as possible, while your front wheel is just here to go up and flip in, so it actually gives you extra momentum.
Yeah, that's back tire down is like Mythical's #1 tip for playing trials. Land smoothly, probably number 2. Landing on your back tire is usually a good way to land smoothly. It's all about keeping your energy, basically. All the energy you gain from going up high is energy you can convert into speed, assuming you don't land in a way as to bounce and lose all of that energy. So it can seem unintuitive sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to go full speed off of a ramp because you're going to land somewhere that it makes for not a smooth landing. So on some of the bumpy roads we're seeing here, Devil Tifa landed with his back tire there, and it kicked his bike up in a weird way. He lost all his speed, whereas if he had just a little more, he would have had so much more speed coming out of there, and those little things can add up. Throwing in a flip
nice.
for
landing
show
on the back tire
at the end. The flips actually can introduce a bit of extra energy and speed, so if you're really pushing it, you do want to be adding in flips, but it is really risky. And I can't tell if players are doing it for speed or if they're conscious of the audience watching who maybe want to see something a little dramatic.
Those players have had an audience who've been streaming the game on speed gaming for such a long time, but being actually in front of the audience actually has an impact on you wanting actually to perform. Like, they're becoming all actors. We can see them actually like exaggerating their reaction. Maybe not so on Mel West because he's lost in a blurry mist. I don't know what happens. I hope he can see well the screen. Superling God shows a lot of concentration and skill right now on Trials 2, getting their lots of momentum. Was not happy with how that actual launch went twice in a row. Now he doesn't have the front speed he needs to land actually. Brother Main and Mel West on the same level as Devil Tifa, but Devil Tifa still in the lead.
Still pretty close here, like we kind of thought it would be. Some backwards loop-de-loops here. There's if you see in the video, they'll actually tilt the bike in a really weird way to avoid doing the loop, but insanely tricky stuff. You would be resetting for minutes trying to pull it off in this situation, so we do get to see that nice big full loop. Going through some of those tunnels, earlier in the season we saw a creative use of the in-game camera options. Here you're seeing players, actually different perspectives depending on which player you're looking at. A little more dynamic for Brother Main, behind a little bit to the left for Mel West, straight on for Super Link God. There's also first person, so including the flips and everything, truly insane. But it did let you see through some tunnels, so when players were having trouble inside the tunnels, not knowing exactly what the terrain was like in there, we actually saw it a little bit on stream. Unfortunately, not going to see it. Unfortunately, also Brother Main, his head is actually like even just rolling, it's clipping through. And it is very sensitive. We saw players practically decapitate themselves, and obviously that will cause your biker to have some problems, but even just rubbing it on the ceiling will cause your rider to very dramatically keel over and restart from the checkpoint.
Yeah, like touching the head is very bad. Like, obviously earlier when Mel was flipped and landed directly on his head, that would be like pretty bad. But just grazing a ceiling should not hurt that much. But anyway, that's how the game goes. So you have to be extra careful when you have to fit through tight spaces. Devil Tifa, not stopping for anything, he is a big fan of the series. Actually played a lot of the different new games, and it's probably harder for them to go back to Trials 2, which is an actually old title. Came out on Xbox Live Arcade like maybe 10 years ago now, and it's been ported to Steam. But actually, playing that is nowadays can get pretty hard. Too many tires coming up, and that means we finally got to the actual nitty-gritty part. We are on the medium difficulty, which means everything is so much harder now. Lots of new obstacles showing up, and Brother Main starting too many tires in sync with Melwest because of that unfortunate death.
Both of them getting much better speed launching off of those tires that time. And we see some of these pipes here. They're not going to be too much of a problem just there, but we'll see plenty of these pipes later on, and they do become quite a problem. Devil Tifa on a perilous section, jumping from log to log. Almost had too much speed there, but barely landed okay. He is going to teeter off the edge into this V shape and very easily transfers over to the right. That is not as easy as he made it look. Flipping for show
nice.
At the end. In later Trials games, having your head cross the finish line is what matters. So, a fancy move like that would actually be practical. But in Trials 2, it is actually the center mass. So, not gaining anything but style points there. But obviously still very much appreciated. Brother Main and Melwest still neck and neck. Devil Tifa a little bit ahead. And Super Link God just a little bit behind, starting that same level.
Okay, you can see all those landings. Sometimes I just hold my breath and they're like, it's not going to land correctly. On Fear Justice, especially, that level can be tricky. You have to be careful with how you land all those platforms. You have some of those leap of faith. Sometimes you don't even know where you're going to land, so you have to either play around a little bit with the camera or know by heart the level very well. So Mel was doing a good job at showing that off. Brother Main is actually behind, is maybe in danger of being caught up by Super Link God. Super Link God has been fourth place so far for the entire race, but that could change pretty quickly. Devil Tifa landing on his head once again, not a safety measure on Trials 2.
Yeah, they've got the helmet on, which is good, but only so much that helmet can do with the crazy feats that these guys are doing. Into another section here where speed will help you cross these gaps, almost like the one-tile blocks in a Mario game when you get running at full speed. Kind of a similar property here. We'll see how it goes. Melwest is able to get it there. He bounces a little bit off of that bigger gap at the end, but he manages to convert it into a pretty good landing. Brother Main's turn now as well. And same thing that we saw from Melwest.
No, resetting.
Oh.
Yeah. He wanted to cross the checkpoint, but actually was a little bit shy of validating it, because as you said, you need to pass the center of mass, so it's actually in the middle of the bag. So you might feel like you've been cheated, but you need actually to go through with it and know exactly when to reset. Brother Main and Super Link God are exactly on the same place right now, same tires. Brother Main just passes them, and Devil Tifa finishes the level actually, so is currently still in first place in the
Boulder Dash. I think this is, and this is I think where there's kind of an increase in difficulty, even from easy to medium. Something about this level it can be very unwelcome. The boulders are uneven, but it's not even the boulders that are the problem. It's some of the stuff like this section here that Devil Tifa, he had too much speed, was about to sort of roll over the edge, but also was rocking too much to actually try to make the jump. So he went ahead and reset from the checkpoint. Nice foresight there, being able to do that. And being able to make that jump is also much harder than it looks. And now these pipes are very, very difficult. He's making it look so easy. There is where you can see.
The bombs.
Yeah.
And this is probably the hardest part of the game, period, of the category at least, because it's super hard to have enough momentum to push forward and make your both tire pass. Those two players are kind of stuck. Devil Tifa passed successfully and started pipe dreams, but Melwest is kind of stuck. Still has to play close attention to pass the last tires, and made it very well. Very
close race still. Super Link God had a bit of trouble on that ramp leading up to the pipe section. is we'll see how it goes through this really difficult section. He was tilted really far forward, but he managed to hold on, but then had a bad launch off of the next pipe, so still a bit of pipe going for Super Link God. Is he going to be able to recover? I think he is. Yes, he's going to back up and reset. It takes a bit of time when that happens, but it's a lot better than going back to the checkpoint. Brother Main managing to land safely and get to the end of that level. I think this is...
It was Pipe Dreams,
so
and
this
now
is
it's
squirrels,
too many
then.
squirrels. Yeah.
I
want squirrels.
I don't know what the deal is with the squirrels, but you'll see them all throughout the level. And in terms of the level itself, it is quite difficult. We'll see Devil Tifa is eyeing up this tire here. It's like psyching himself up for this jump. He does get through, but he hasn't hit the checkpoint yet, so he's a little conscious. Getting hung up on kind of some weird places here, but it's very easy for that kind of thing to happen in this game.
Look at the squirrels everywhere, and they get me every time. That means the time for the players are actually like pretty good, like 11:30 at the third to last level. It's actually very well done by the players. And Devil Tifa, Brother Main, super close together. Super Link God is trying to catch up, but like they're all on the same level right now.
He is just a little bit behind, and Devil Tifa is now putting the distance between them onto Under Construction. It's a fun level where you can see elements of the level that clearly are supposed to bridge one thing to the other, but they're down, so you're going to have to make do without them. Lots of steep ramps up onto an edge. You really... it's probably possible somehow to get back up if you fall down, but certainly the reset is going to be the better option, and obviously the best option is to not have to worry about it at all. Long fall for Devil Tifa with an awkward landing, but he does land it, and that is the key point, so he is going to be moving on to the next checkpoint. Melwest clearing that gap with ease. He's going to go off the wall here in a much smoother landing, and you can see that this adds
Brother
up.
Main.
Oh, he's going to have to try it again, going with a flip, and he gets the landing, but he needs more space to accelerate, so he had to wait to roll backwards. And, that's like a second or something, right? So these seconds are here and there everywhere in this game.
And the final exam. This is the end of the category, starting for Devil Tifa. This is a super long and tough level with some crazy flips and landing on the ceiling to propel backward and stuff like that. So let's see how well it goes for Devil Tifa. Quick reset here on the checkpoint, trying to climb the tires. Climbing anything can be tiresome in in Trials 2. And see like those crazy flips and landing on the back tire.
I thought he was going to accelerate off the back tire. Oh, that would have been truly miraculous, but he played it safe there, perhaps rightfully so. This, I was about to say, you need to be a lot more careful than you'd think in this section. Very easy to bonk your head. Devil Tifa showcasing exactly how and why, and again, teetering over here. See, look, when you go from forwards to backwards there, your rider jerks forward, so that can be a problem. And these tires, he does not get hung up on there, but we've seen, if one of your tires gets stuck in the middle of that big tire, you can just be completely stuck sometimes. So with the backwards flip, he's moving on to the final set of jumps in just a little bit. The middle of this thing here is gone, but he does manage to land safely. Double barrel.
This part is tough. Oh no, he breaks his back on the tire. Sometimes you want to land your back wheel here, and no. Wow. Melis is going to catch up. Oh, it is a tough part. Melis is actually trying, but resetting as well. And Brother Main is a little bit behind. Nobody gets it so
Come
far.
on.
It's been a long time since we've seen a lot of players getting stuck here. Melwest, fun. No! Get the player by clipping through. And Devil Tifa is actually the first one to beat the level.
Right.
14-25. This is actually worse than what they've done during the grand finals. So I think we have our answer about Trials 2.
Yeah. It seems it seems your ability to adapt on the fly is still not quite where it was when you're in this setting, and that was a hell of a finish between those players. We haven't seen players. I mean, certainly those last few jumps have got someone here or there, but I don't think we've seen the 7 or 8 retries it was for Devil Tifa in a long time. I don't know if he was doing something different with the flips. There's a couple different ways you can approach it. We'll see how Super Link God. He's going to maybe try to go for... No, he's going to smoothly sail over the entire thing.
This
Fantastic
is how you want to
finish.
do. And nice. So it followed pretty much the PBs. Like everybody, the first 3 were super close together, and Super Link God was pretty close behind. But it's wow, what a finish! I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, this was. I wonder if they're surprised, or if that was happily what they expected. Perhaps it was a very admirable performance from all the players there. We are going to take a look at the leaderboard in just a little bit to see. I don't think we're going to see any movement in terms of place, but we will see just how far apart the players are, and what the gaps will be for Shovel Knight, which is going to be the next game. Huge gains and losses in time possible in Shovel Knight, and it's going to set the tone for the next day. So in some ways, more important than the first run tomorrow or the last run tomorrow, this might be the most important run of the decathlon.
Yeah, it is actually like going to be pretty important. Like, I want to know exactly how they feel. Brotherman told you they were like Kushas told you that Brotherman told them that they were pretty confident, and knowing also like they said that in front of everybody, so everybody knows. Like Brotherman's like, yeah, I feel okay for Shovel Knight. How do you think that affects the other three players?
Oh, it's definitely harder to there's always question marks about where your opponent is at when you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's easy to fill it in with all kinds of things. But to know that your opponent is feeling good can definitely maybe shake your confidence, but maybe you're the kind of person who rises to that kind of challenge. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of challenge these players have to rise to, as they rode into these times on the leaderboard. Brother Main holds on to first place, and his lead has grown by, shrunk just like by like 2 points or something.
Something like
I
that.
underestimated the lead he had before, actually. He had earned like a 13.
He had 25 points.
Wow.
Like after a story about my uncle.
Right,
so
yeah.
It's still shrinking, but he had like a confident, good pillow like to dampen pretty much anything. So at 14:30, they lost about 3 points compared to Devil Tifa and 2 points compared to Mel West, and still have like 12 points to go. 779 and 769 nice for Devil Tifa and Mel West. So Super Lingard is left out a little bit, 20 points behind, but they know they can come back. Like their best day is probably the second day, so with like inertia is super good for them. So we'll see. But Shovel Knight is very important to set in the confidence you need. Come in tomorrow at 1 p.m. and be like, okay, I'm ready to take back the first place.
Right. If you have a bad The End is Nigh, for example, game number 1 tomorrow, you only have like 5, maybe 10 if setup goes bad or something, but not too much time to dwell on it. Whereas if Shovel Knight goes bad, I think you're probably going to be thinking about it for the whole evening, night, morning.
Yeah.
And so you really want to finish strong here. And it's the game where I think most players agree that the differences between a strong Shovel Knight and a shaky Shovel Knight are huge. We're 30, 40 points. I guess confidence shakes after 1 death, 2 deaths. You can get thrown off your route if you don't have enough gold. Yeah. There's a lot of concerns with Shovel Knight, and it's such a long game that it can be hard to maintain your focus for so long.
It's a very technical game to speedrun. Like, even there exist like a lot of longer games that are way easier to get into and to know and to practice. Shovel Knight community is incredible, has a lot of tools, developed a lot of things, but still, like, it is a tough game to tackle. So anyone on that setting, particularly right now, would be like a little bit worried about how the game is going to go. So I'm not sure how confident you can be. Well, like, what time you can aim for. Everybody is going to look for like a sub 50, 52, I don't know, but it's everything has to line up to get ready for that. So it's I don't know. We'll see, but I'm like, you have to be on point on every single trick to get there.
Yeah, it is very hard, very difficult game, and there's. There are things you can do to mitigate it. You can take certain things a little more safely than you otherwise would. But I don't know if the players want to try doing different strats in all of a sudden in this setting. I think they probably want to stick with what they know, and what they know is very, very hard to pull off, especially Mel West going without the Chaos Orb in his route. He's going to have a lot less options on those very important boss fights. But for now, I can't help but just let this music wash over me. Fantastic Jake Kaufman soundtrack. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's been with us for 6 months now, and like fantastic music, like good tribute to a lot of the Mega Man themed things going on in Shovel Knight, and it helps like getting in to enjoy the game, to be honest. Like just the soundtrack is good enough like sometimes, but also like all the options you have, like look at how crazy the moves of Shovel Knight and all those bosses, and the existence of that boss rush, and the only 4 HP you can have if you're a crazy guy, or if you want like to be running with 6 HP or 10 HP, you also can do it. So the game leaves some options ready, but everybody like gets into there. And next game, Shovel Knight. The PBs of the players, what do they tell you?
Well, I mean, it tells the story of Mel West kind of being on top here, and certainly Super Link God, the next closest person, 14 points, is a fairly big gap for just one game. I remember we were talking when we were looking at player cards, and we were like, a little weak on Shovel Knight. Is important to remember. 52-29, very, very, very good Shovel Knight. So there's the rite of passage in starting to speedrun Shovel Knight is kind of the 1 hour mark. So, blowing way past that is Super Link God, but the other players are just so strong, and on top of that we're seeing, playing from behind, about a 20-point gap, coming into Shovel Knight, where there's an additional 14, 20, almost 30-point gap between Mel West. It definitely needs a very good Shovel Knight, does Super Link God. And this is also one of these cases where the top person actually has a bit of a gap between second. Mm-hmm. The players tend to, at least someone else is able to challenge someone for the top spot. But Shovel Knight seems to be a game, along with maybe Inertia, is one where Mel West kind of has the first place position solidly. Not quite head and shoulders above the competition, but it is just a little bit of a noticeable edge. And I think you'll see that in not necessarily the way, the execution, but in the decisions he makes. He's going to be, going without the Chaos Orb. He's going to be going for a couple skips that maybe other people won't, aggressive takes on certain rooms and bosses. So these are the things that you need to do if you want to start pushing for like the 217 points that he has. And it's the kind of thing that can be really good in a race, but it's also really risky. So I'm worried for him. He's named his file RIP, so that says where he's at. Perhaps let's hope that that negative mentality is ironic or joking around a little bit, perhaps.
Super Link God's final name means I don't want to die. So
okay.
That says it. 2,
1, go!
Everybody in sync. Shovel Knight, very, very intense speedrun that starts right now. It's like everybody, I feel like everybody knows the game at that point. The speedrun community is huge. It's been shown. It has statuses. It has a lot of text. But if you've never played the game, it's like DuckTales meets Mega Man. You can pogo and you can move around, swing shovels at things, and you also will meet a lot of bosses. And bosses are going to be very important in the game. They do have like specific weapons, but you do have to route for those. It's not like given for free when you beat the boss, and that's actually very meaningful in the game. And you have money everywhere, so back to the tech theme, like you like money a lot in that speedrun because you are going to need to buy actually a lot of stuff if you want to make it through that any percent category right now.
Mel West is a player known for more aggressive strategies, but he actually does something on that previous screen where he gets a little bit extra gold instead of going for the leap of faith, which is a pretty dramatic name for a trick that's not that hard. Everyone seemed to have done it just well, except Mel West, who got a little bit of extra money. I don't know if this is... when we watch his runs, he usually doesn't end up using it. I think this is purely a safety for races that he does. Yeah. And it's really nice to see an aggressive player like Mel West make that kind of adjustment. It shows that he's willing to be flexible when he needs to, and I think it's a sort of a sign of growth here. Devil Tifa holds on to the lead by just a tiny little bit as they've just gotten started, and it's going to be a good race, I'm sure.
I'm worried, to be honest, because it is the single game that went the worst during the grand final, like by a lot. Like some people were over 30 points behind PB, especially Mel West. So it's for those 4 at least. Some people actually will, like grand finals were with 10 players, and like it went well for some. And as I see like Devil Tifa preparing the bubble wrap here, you want to touch like the upper left corner, and they got
good.
it very well. They didn't get like the perfect finish, like Melwest does all the time, getting the gentle hop. That means you don't have to break this thing underneath.
Yeah, that is just an extra little bit you can do on top. And, you know, executing on something like that is, if I was to pick one player who's to pull it off, definitely Melwest. We'll see how these guys do against Black Knight. Showcasing shovel canceling, attacking in the air, and jumping out of your attack. Lets you get these rapid attacks, locking Black Knight in the corner.
Okay.
Melwest, I don't know if the jump input got dropped or if he decided to do something a little safer for the last hit or something, but almost got away, but was able to finish off there.
Everybody gets the accomplishment. I'm alive on a diet.
Right.
Like, this is not their save file, so it has been like installed specifically for today. So it's a new like complete set of games. So everybody can do whatever they want, and they are all on the same settings. So it's pretty cool. We are going into city, and then goodbye. We actually have to go through here to get to Proudmoore Keep. The first actual level. The previous one, the planes, were the introduction, and now we actually are going to have the actual night bosses and able to do like more crazy stuff. So, what we have to focus on money right now, right?
Absolutely. The players have been breaking checkpoints, which seems like a bad idea when you're worried about not, you know, dying in a race or something. But the checkpoints are worth money in this game, and they need the money for their route. They're looking to buy some extra health. They're looking to buy the Chaos Orb early on, and money is at a premium. You don't really want to be stopping, you know, at this gold pile, for example. The Devil Thief is going to go right past it. There's gems hidden all over the place in the walls, but it all takes time to collect, and none of it takes, you know, nearly as little time as it does to just break open a checkpoint and get a whole whack of gold. So there are some deaths that can be pretty costly. If it's after a couple broken checkpoint, maybe 2 broken checkpoints. But Proudmoore Keep generally is pretty consistent. I think we actually saw a death here at the Chandeliers in a recent race. I don't know if it was Grand Finals or Octobers, but looks like everyone so far having no problems with the Chandeliers. And gold, we can see that Super League God Devil Tifa have a fair bit of extra gold. Not sure exactly where it's coming from.
An extra checkpoint at the start of Proudmoore Keep. They probably like consider they need that. We'll see how they choose if it to spend all their gold. Like, I do expect like Conjurer's Coat, Charge Handle, a ton of upgrades, but Chaos Orb, not for everyone but Melwest, and only 6 HP. Obviously, no like crazy 9 or 10 HP. So, but we'll see. Like, this is actually setting live, and people might choose to do some stuff differently. Very synced on top of the screen between Melwest and Spilling God.
This has been a treat to watch. All the players keeping it close early on here in Shovel Knight. It is usually some of the later stages where you'll start to see players separate. I mean, obviously, the longer a run is, the more chances there are for someone to succeed or fail. But you know, the level of execution that is demanded kind of steps up, and the strats that save time become harder, and more people become willing to not do them. So we'll see, actually, even on this King Knight fight, what the players might opt to do. There's some, you know, they're going to be doing some shovel canceling here, but whenever you get a high jump from King Knight, you can go these Melwest is doing these pogos, this double pogo on the ceiling. Very tricky to do. Melwest is right there.
They let it escape for a second.
The screen flashing for 3 out of 4 players. Very, very close after the second level here in Shovel Knight.
Brother Main killed the King Knight without losing an HP. It's synced to the frame almost between Melwest and Spilling God. It's actually very, very crazy. And they're hoping their way towards the Elite Yard, the second level, where, like, compared to Proudmoore Keep, like, it's way harder. A lot more things will kill you in one hit. You have way more enemies, and the boss is actually super intense as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of RNG there. And even if you get the good RNG or the bad RNG, either way, there's still execution to be done to make the most of either pattern. So it continues the trend of very difficult boss fights in Shovel Knight that can gain and lose you a lot of time. And certainly the stage itself has its fair share of threats. There's a lot of, you know, spikes and pits and stuff that starts happening in this level. It also has probably my favorite track from the game. I think it's called La Danse Macabre, which is kind of kind of fitting for the setting, perhaps. But it is absolutely fantastic. So far, the level has gone well for all the players. Mel West doing a nice little trick there to avoid landing on the platform. They're into the dark sections here now.
Yeah, doing everything they can to catch up with Devil Tifa. Spilling God is right behind them, just a tiny screen. Nobody is breaking too many checkpoints here. I think it's smart for the round to do that because you want to be able to recover from death pretty much on that very specific level. We'll see way more worse checkpoints being broken in the Lost City, and it's going to be like way better for them. You have to be careful not to be crushed, and Spelling God actually dies here. Go back to the checkpoint. The money here they lost is very, very meaningful, so they have to pay close attention to get that back.
Right. It's sometimes you die in a weird place, and it's like barely possible to get the money back. This, in that sense, is a fairly fortuitous death. And also, it was pretty close to the checkpoint. Sometimes you can die very far from one. Sometimes you've broken one. Those can be very bad. So, you know, as bad as deaths are in Shovel Knight, that one, really not so bad. I don't expect to, you know, the Super Link Gods playing from behind now or anything. Definitely he's a little bit behind, but I think he's still right there with everyone else. Devil Tifa is now moving his way through some of the later sections of the stage, followed very closely behind by Mel West, just half a screen transition apart right now. Very close, and very soon we'll get a look at what their Spectre Knight is going to look like. Just one kind of final tricky part.
Like the platform took them like by surprise, and
broken
actually
checkpoint.
Broken checkpoint, yeah. So it's going to be like that sent them back where Super Link God went when they actually died themselves. That's a long time ago. And Devil Tifa and Mel West are super close together. I think like Mel West actually like took the lead, taking bigger risks on that dark level.
He's going to be moving on into the boss fight here. Had an opportunity to break that checkpoint. I have seen players break that one before the boss before, confident they could handle. But I think it's probably more that Mel West just doesn't need the money, doesn't want to waste time breaking the checkpoint even. Does get the good pattern. Both players, Devil Tifa as well. The down low spawn lets you get multiple hits there in the corner. Again for Mel West, making good use of the RNG. Very good fight from Mel West. Devil Tifa with the bad luck has to scramble a little bit to get the rest of these hits. He's going to jump into the middle for some pogos. And now it's all about this sort of ping-pong action against the walls. We'll see how he does. He's not going so well.
Okay, good finish. Actually, like, almost being caught up by Super Link God. Mel West is in the lead, and Brother Main finally got back where they would die. They got stuck a little bit by the enemies and got caught by surprise with the collapsing platform and jumped a little bit too early. I don't know if they would have made that. Now they want to like get more money and get more confidence. Maybe going to buy some more HP or mana to make up for that. I don't know what's the plan, but I'm worried a little bit now seeing them take such a big hit so early on.
Yeah, we can take a look at him, and he's got a very serious expression. I think that's just his focus face, though. We've seen this throughout the series. He's shaking it off a little bit, so he's not happy, but he seems to be indicating like, oh, come on, that shouldn't have happened, but because I'm in a good place, I can do this.
Yeah,
is my read on it, and we'll see how it goes for this boss fight. Dream sequence for some of the other players. Opportunity to make some extra money if you want. Kill yourself to end it faster if you just are interested in time. Brother Main ping pong and does not get the RNG. We'll see how he adjusts. Up high gets hit by the scythe, so losing some damage there.
Careful, losing a pogo, but getting a nice like ping pong action. Has to like keep tracking Spectre Knight, and boom, it's done. But that's been very slow. He looks disappointed.
Yeah.
While Mel West eats whatever they find to take their life to up to 6 HP, which is going to be very, very meaningful.
Yeah, the HP particular, like, you know, it matters throughout the run, but deaths usually come in the form of a pit or a spike, something like that. It's very rare during a stage to lose all your life just to taking damage. Where it matters is certain boss fights, especially once you get the Conjurer's Coat, and of course the boss rush at the end. Several continuous boss fights, you do get the health refills, but sometimes you can't get to them in time. We saw the chicken health refill got trapped between some of the things that Plague Knight spawns. Pretty ridiculous situation. So players kind of base what health they aim for in their run based off of the boss rush, kind of entirely.
Yeah, there are like a lot of games like that. We'll see that actually now of Sorrow also. Like a lot of shopping and the routing is all comes to an end. Like right at the end of the run, like 20 minutes of building just to be able to beat the game. It's pretty much the same thing with Shovel Knight, but it's even like more straightforward. On your way is that immense boss rush you have to go through, and you have to be sure that you're going to stay alive. So the fastest any person route would beat the game with only 4 HP, but that's actually ridiculous. So you want to have some safety, and you are going to take a lot of hits because you also want to get like the better stuff that makes you take more hits in exchange of more damage. So it's a trade. It's a tough game to run, as we've said multiple times, and Mel West is still in the lead. Devil Tifa and Superling God are on the same beetle, just Devil Tifa is a little bit ahead, and Brotherman just finished shopping, so they lost a lot of time on that Lich Yard.
Yeah, he's almost done here. Needs to engage in eating whatever this guy cooks up. It's a bit mysterious, but it does increase your health, so eat it we will. Moving on now is Brother Main. Mel West is going to be the first one to purchase the Dust Knuckles, a very, very important item for the speed run. It's one of the items that will sort of attack while moving Shovel Knight. So in a game where you want to be attacking and moving as much as possible, doing both at the same time turns out is very helpful. There are a number of enemies where hitting them puts them in invincibility frames, and the Dust Knuckles will keep them in there and let you kind of glide through them. We'll see it in a little bit. Maybe we're seeing some trouble from the players.
Yeah, both Mel West and Superling God are having issues exactly at the same time. Going like through sub-weapon, apparently. They have to edit that. Like, they had the time to test all the controller. I hope, I don't know, like, I hope they can fix that pretty quickly. In the meanwhile, Brother Main and Devil Tifa are still moving. They're behind a little bit. Mel West actually struggling a little bit to edit their control. It's the sub-weapon button that was not, like, to attack. So it's to trigger it, and it's pretty important to have it right, because like when you use the Dust Knuckle, it might be above lava, so if you don't know exactly how it's going to happen, like, it's not going to work for you.
Oh, I think he got caught by the save cancel thing on the menu, the way that happens to some people. Normally it's a minor annoyance, but here he's in the middle of a race and he's losing time to a menu of all things. Hopefully that doesn't throw him off. Meanwhile, Brother Main, who fell behind, has been charging forwards through the Lost City, going with that brave hit on that bird. If you miss that hit, it's going to hit you, and you're probably not going to land on solid ground. But he went for it, and he got it. So that's a good sign. Confidence from Brother Main. Devil Tifa as well now on this final Beetle section here. We'll see how confident he's feeling in terms of how he approaches the end of it. We've seen some players line up nicely on these stairs, and then, yeah, Dust Knuckle across.
Yeah, very well done. Meanwhile, Superling God and Mel is both stuck on the menus. I hope we can figure that out. It's pretty weird. The Mole Knight gets to the battle, and with the Chaos Orb, like, it's not a problem at all. Like, you can do whatever you want, and it's going to take a ton of hits. And yeah, even before the Dust Wall starts, like, it's done.
Very, very good boss fight. The Chaos Orb helps so much, like we saw, but you have to put it such that it overlaps while he moves left, or she, I guess in this turn, you can swap the bodies of the characters. So we saw the nice flowing hair from Mole Knight, and Brother Main now setting up on the jelly, and so what we're going to do is during technical difficulties, while this gets sorted out, we're going to just pause the timers. So we're going to have an asynchronous finish. I think they did lose some time to the trouble, but it's not as much as it appears, and that's good. It's not gonna be the thing that really decides day one and the rest of the decathlon or anything.
That would be awful. So it's going to be like pretty bad for them, because it's throwing them off rhythm, but it's not making them lose actual points, I hope. So they do have to recover from that. And once again, it's normal to do that. It is more like a for fun competition. Like, obviously it would be during like a internet event, we would not be able to adjust so much, but here it's pretty easy to just get everything started again. So Mel West really has like
nice adjustment from Devil Tifa to turn back and land on solid ground there.
I saw them die. I actually saw them die. Like, I was like, and then I had trouble. Like, I was like, there's no checkpoint here. What's happening? And then like figured out. Those fairies, I don't know what they are exactly, but no, Devil Tifa has almost got squished. If you get pushed to the spikes, it's been a while since we've seen that, but you actually die. They just have 1 HP, but there's like a chicken up right in this plate, so you have to get through that, and very well done.
All right, back on solid ground is Devil Tifa, and just keeping things interesting, all under control, I'm sure.
Solid ground, not so much. Look how easy it is to destroy.
It's literally caving out from underneath him again. He didn't even think he was going to make it. He had to turn back after that jump. Oh man, he is he's dancing on the edge of a knife here, but for now he is still alive and kicking. This has been fun to watch for Devil Tifa.
Yeah,
well, for us, maybe not for
us.
Devil
I'm
Tifa.
not sure it's very fun for them. So Melwest started back up, so the timer has been frozen and then restarted exactly when they started moving. So everybody is all set, but probably Melwest is like 3 minutes behind what it appears. So it's we'll see. We have the answer at the end. So let's just enjoy the runs and like let's see how well Devil Tifa does, because like I can see them die. They practiced a lot on that room. They want to go for the crazy skip, so I'm not sure. They're going to try to aim for the fairy, actually going to wait and go for the backup skip, and here they go. Nice, the practice paid off.
Yeah. It is, you might think like, you go up and go down, it's not that bad, but the waiting for the fire in that situation actually is quite a bit of time saved there. So nice job from Devil Tifa. Of course, the risk, very obvious. Also going for a skip here, not quite getting enough height for those dust knuckles. Kind of have to go the long way. Only costs a little bit of time to try, and it kind of saves a lot of time. Not a lot of time.
It's one of those skips that as a player feels super well. Like it feels like you saved, and if you don't do that, you have to walk. It's a bit of the walk of shame, but it's not that important.
Yeah, so maybe taking some damage to his pride, but not his timer. And he kills that enemy, so it's not going to prevent him from getting back up, but he did get knocked down and having to wait one more cycle. Was going to get this chicken here, hit this checkpoint, and get into yet another boss fight that is difficult. It's Plague Knight is very chaotic. The entire level is chaotic. It's kind of his whole thing. But it's particularly true in the boss fight. We'll see how much damage he can find here. You've got the Chaos Orbs, but you're kind of just throwing them in the dark in a lot of cases. But he doesn't need it. He's just going nuts with the shovel here. It's been a very good fight so far. Trying to chase him down.
Last one.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, good fight, actually.
fight.
This is the boss that killed the most players, I think, in the
you're
entire
right.
UD. Like, Plague Knight is crazy. Usually the death happen mostly in the boss rush, but it's pure chaos. Like, there's no distinct pattern on how they move, and I'm always like scared when it happens. So that the skip, it's not going to work either. It's one of those skips like you have to have like very precise cues, and I'm not surprised to see a player like miss it, considering how the lightning and everything would affect them right now. They'll be disappointed though once again, probably just because of how like
The shame.
yeah exactly.
We'll see how this final section goes. He takes a hit. He cannot get hit by anything now. Not because it'll knock him to a pit, but because he'll just die. And he does. The green guy coming in from the bottom, not quite landing on the ledge. Both things had to happen in order for that death to happen. So that is, not too costly. Every death costs quite a bit, but, not like a broken checkpoint situation. Mostly, it's a blow to confidence. This is not the first time he's died in Shovel Knight. He doesn't want to die anymore. He wants to finish strong, so we'll see if he's able to rally here in the Explodatorium. But for now, Devil Tifa, again, remember with the pauses for both Melwest and Super Link God, it appears like Devil Tifa is way ahead of them, but it's actually kind of unclear. So we'll see at the end. But for now, Devil Tifa certainly appears to be way ahead. He's in the Iron Whale now.
I'm worried. Like, Brother Man actually took a lot of time to get back to the game. Like, they took a long break, like just to gather their strengths and build a little bit of more fortitude. And I don't know. It's they have like about 12 points of lead, which equates to almost like 2 minutes in Shovel Knight, but that could vanish pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. We got Devil Tifa is going to show one of the advantages of the Chaos Orb in this section with these kind of weirdly cute sea creatures. I'd never say that about any sea creature, but this may be Chaos Orb obliterating that entire screen before they have a chance to. Yeah, that is a cute little strat there. Something that Melwest not going to be able to do. And we are going to see an item. No, it's a big, scary anglerfish. It does have an item at the end, but I don't think the players are going to pick it up. I think probably they're going to leave this. Well, certainly with only 860 gold, Devil Tifa is going to be forced to leave it behind. But this sequence here, I don't know if we've seen anyone die in this sequence. It's pretty tame, very forgiving. But the fight against the anglerfish, it's pretty tricky to get the 12 hits necessary here. Charge.
Oh wow, they missed like the dust knuckles. We've seen them like we've seen a lot of wrong inputs, so they're not going to have like the one cycle taking another hit. Actually, life is going low, and like it was 1 or 2 hits away. The charge handle deals like 2 hits, and
you doing okay?
Stuck. Yeah,
that was a little weird. To not pick up the chicken and then go back for it is fine, but he actually went up on top of it, still went backwards. I don't know. He's feeling a little shaky.
Yeah, this is every player right now is just.
Oh, but he gets that skip there, so maybe not.
Yeah, no, I think they're okay, but I think like actually the poses from Mel West and Sibling God like got weird for everybody, and like Devil Tifa is constantly checking what's happening over on this side, and they should all like try to focus right now just on the race and what's happening. Mel West died on the Explodatorium on the skip sequence with the 3 tiny flames. They died. They had to recollect all their money. Like it's all over the place right now, and I'm pretty sad it's happening on Shovel Knight, which is probably the hardest game in Giga 6. So everybody has to focus. The game is not done. We are only like 23 minutes in, and the race is actually starting right now for a lot of those because the upcoming levels are the hardest.
Yeah, the real Dark Souls starts here. Apparently, we got Devil Tifa coming up on the final sequence for Treasure Knight. Sorry, this is a fight that both of you do a lot of damage to each other. So we'll see how this goes. He does have full health and is hopefully aware that everyone's back on track and he can focus on playing his own game. And we'll see how this fight goes. Opening up with the Chaos Orbs. They can do a lot of damage if placed correctly. And he's got him in a corner now, so big opportunity for damage. Gets a lot of it, and
very
then finishes
good.
off
They
in the
barely
middle.
hit him. I love Treasure Knight. The female sprite we've seen there is also super well done, and like it's a well-designed fight. When you don't know how to slash cancel and do the fight properly, like all the attacks are scary. You have to dodge like everything. You can get trapped in the chest, and it's a pretty cool one. But when you do know how to use the Chaos Orb and the slash cancel Devil Tifa has done, like it's not a problem. Although it has killed a lot of players because of how damage it deals.
Brother Main a little shaky here, not going with the charge slashes to open it up. But it is pretty. I think it's harder, more so than the slash, than to get the 3 or 4 dust knuckles back and forth. So being able to execute on that, at least, pretty good sign. An okay 2-cycle anglerfish there for Brother Main pogoing off the stingray there and the damage boost off of that one. It's kind of back on track. Another pogo. Looking good. We'll see how the skip goes. Not quite too far to the left, and correctly not falling in between the gap that just opened up between the torpedo and the floor there. So that was a nice little adjustment after not getting on top of it.
Yeah, It seems like the players are actually kind of shaky. Like you have to wait and be more try to be more precise. And probably my favorite soundtrack in the entire game. Like the Propeller Knight sounds so nice and warm when actually the level is pure hell. But finally we are going to get the Propeller Dagger, which is the best movement item in the game. So that's going to be cool. And some nice tricks behind those blocks. You can like actually do pretty cool stuff with the enemies and everything that moves there. But you have the Jawas, those green enemies as well to deal with. They try to blow you away. And yeah, you got like stuck on 1 pixel, could not like either go or break the blocks, but did recover. So yeah, Propeller Knight stage. You want to deal with the enemy, you want to know exactly how to move through it, and Melwes dies on those spikes. They all missed that escape except but Devil Tifa, and has to go back to it. Very, very little money, but everybody has to focus right now. Like Melwes, Super Lingard, Brother Main, they have to catch Devil Tifa back up.
Brother Main does get the kill on Treasure Knight, is at half a stage back now. Devil Tifa faking like he was going to break that checkpoint and then thought better of it, has the money he needs for the Propeller Dagger. and it's about to get it here, climbing up on this ladder and then falling back down. Will get you just enough downward speed to fight the wind and get into this secret little area. And Propeller Dagger is going to change things quite a bit. Like you said, it moves you a lot. It lets you sort of fly through the air. Obviously, that is a pretty good thing to have in a platformer. And it also is quite good at fighting certain bosses. Anything with a weak point way up in the air, suddenly you can land multiple hits. Conveniently, the boss of the flying machine does have an attack or a pattern where he goes up in the air. So we might see some players try to get some height and finish off with the Propeller Dagger. Very tricky to go for that technique. We might see Mel West go for it. I think everyone else might prefer to stay in the middle and do some sweeps. Devil Tifa gets through the very, very scary triple Jawa room.
Slow. They killed everybody. Like they didn't want to take any chances. Like it is the run where everybody is kind of trying to find their pace. Like Devil Tifa is playing safe and try to go slow. He's like taking extra money. Like he's taking every checkpoints. Like the checkpoint you mentioned just before the Propeller Dagger, you can totally ignore it if you're super confident you're not going to die, but it actually saved Mel West a couple of times during races. So just, if you die, like anything can happen during Shovel Knight, so you want to be safe. And especially today, Brother Main is just starting the Propeller Knight stage, the flying machine, and we are in the third half. So we have Tinker Knight stage, Propeller Knight stage, and Polar Knight stage. So those three stages are worrisome, and you want to do exactly how you're supposed to clear those, or if you die, it's going to be terrible, like time-wise.
The entirety of all three stages left for some of our players. Super Link God just beginning the flying machine, quite a bit behind some of the other players, but again, keep in mind the asynchronous timer, so it is a little hard to tell for both Mel West and Super Link God, but Devil Tifa is as far ahead of Brother Main as it appears, and it's a fair margin, so Brother Main's got some catching up to do. He's got that cushion and nice little movement there from Devil Tifa. That room is always so much scarier than it really is. That wind is almost always going to be there at the end of it if you approach it the way that Devil Tifa did. So even if your placement is off on your dagger, it's usually going to save you unless you're going really fast into the Propeller Knight fight.
Too fast at the start. And here you want to slash exactly when you try to stab you, and then go up with it. And if you're fast enough, you can kill it before it lands. But Devil Tifa just has like, a couple of charges, and nice dagger to recover at the end. Very, very well done. You can die. Like the double KO will always be favorable to you. Like it's okay. So falling on that hole doesn't matter at all. Which is scary the first time it happens to you, but it's all okay.
Yeah, not the glamorous finish after that really nice Propeller Dagger movement that he had there. That was really good to see. I'm really glad we got to see it. We got more chances to see it coming up in a little bit. Brother Main going to be the first one to have that chance, setting up with the Propeller Dagger and detouring a little bit for some magic and making sure that he's got what he needs to use that dagger. We're seeing it propelling you upwards. There's a couple cases where Shovel Knight really extends outwards and changes his hitbox into the triple jobber room here, and is going to find the pogo off the cannonball to save it. So playing more aggressive than Devil Tifa there and getting away with it. So this is that's really good to see.
Very nice. Stuck in a natural scroller here, Brother Main. While Mel West is going to catch up with them very soon. Super Link God as well, so it's pretty close between those two, but we don't know exactly how the timers are going to look after the adjustment we are going to have to do. The Ultime is still ahead, it seems, and they are going to take one of the most powerful weapon in the game. It actually can one-shot Tinker Knight, but only the first phase. It's actually very, very useful on multiple accounts, it's a tiny platform, so it's going to help on very soon. It's also going to help on some jumps on the Polar Knight stage. It's going to help to kill the Enchantress faster. It's a very versatile tool, but the main appeal is to be able not to fight Tinker Knight phase 1.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame it comes so late in the run. I was just thinking about all the other places you can use the mobile gear. Gets me pretty excited, honestly. Very cool little item. Kind of difficult to use. You'll see in the Tinker Knight fight on phase 1, it's not too difficult to use. You throw it at him. Phase 2, though, it is very difficult to set it up on the shoulder and then get it moving so it goes into his head. There's some stuff on the Enchantress as well, like you mentioned. So it's not just press the button and let the attack go sort of thing. But if you're willing to put in the time and effort to learn how to use it properly, yeah, it certainly does pay off. Mel West on the other side of the triple Jawa room now. Going to be very happy to have that behind him. Actually kind of close to Brother Main, at least on stream, so I suspect that Brother Main is behind everyone else. He's not going to get up to get some extra hits here, and he didn't get all the damage that he was looking for coming out of the first phase, so he's going to have to... He's doing a really good job with the charge, and Pogo needs a bit more damage to clean this up. He does get hit here, and he's very mindful about the pits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got scared. Sibling God lost a lot of time in the wind rooms, got stuck, like waiting for the correct cycle. I finally cleared them, get the checkpoint, and he's going to go to a proper night. That fight, when it doesn't go as fast as Devil Tifa, I'm always super scared because it's pretty easy to get pushed, like knocked back to the pit. So it's a scary one, but let's admire the strengths of the mobile gear. Boop.
Bam. Also admire Super Link God's fantastic Propeller Knight fight. Didn't quite get the super kill where you get him before he even stops at the top right, but was able to do the charge Pogo for the final hits to kill him as soon as he came down. Very good. We'll see how Devil Tifa's Tinker Knight fight goes, the real Tinker Knight fight, perhaps, as he finds a Pogo and gets the Dust Knuckles. This is very hard to do on this tiny little hitbox up here. Looks like he's going to have to wait a little bit to get back up. And he had the gear out. We'll see if he's going to place it here in just a moment. There it is on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And yeah, lands on it, gets it going, gets that full heart of damage, and is going with just Pogos here. A little slower than Dust Knuckles, but a heck of a lot more reliable. And the charge finish.
I love it. It's pretty cool. On the diet, didn't eat a single chicken in that specific stage. It's pretty nice. We've seen on that level a cool achievement done by Ghostdeath last time, Shovel Economy, which is beat the level with swinging less than a tiny amount of time, so you have to try and figure out how not to kill anybody, and it's actually pretty doable on the Tinker Knight stage. But next up for Devil Tifa is the Stranded Ship, the Polar Knight stage. It's a tough one, and you have the Rainbow platform that are going to be kind of tricky, and all the enemies in the ladder, and Brother Main still appears to be ahead, but I think Melwest is actually in front of them right now.
Yeah, it will. The final times will tell the tale. Getting that charge on that annoying little fairy enemy on the gear ride there, gets hit by the I don't know what the mechanical rat is, but I should look up the proper names for all these enemies, perhaps. I've been perfectly content so far on commentary to call it as I see it. For now, I see Devil Tifa moving on in the Stranded Ship. These spikes look so scary, but those platforms are you're always going to jump and hit them, and they're always going to fall and catch you.
You have to touch them before you touch they're set, so it shows you how they work.
Moving now with one of these weird statues. He's going to abandon it pretty quick there and use the propeller dagger to get across. We'll see some more of those platforms and some strategies that I think the players will use to get up out of the level. But for now, we're done with that one. Catching himself on that ladder and breaking open that block is... he's been looking pretty good here. We saw some shaky stuff in the flying machine, but Stranded Ship, rather, looking generally much smoother.
Yeah, they collected themselves together, like all four of them, pretty nicely, since the explodatorium where everything happened. So
everything exploded.
Yeah, pretty much. Like everybody died and nothing worked anymore. So the rainbow platform here is kind of scary. You want to have enough HP to be sure to pass, even if you get damaged multiple times like that. Devil Tifa is going to take it a little bit slow here. They died during practice on that very specific room, and it's so bad because it's right at this checkpoint, so you want to know exactly how to react and take it slow. You want to know how to be safe in Shovel Knight.
Down to half a heart of health. An option to be safe there was to kill himself after that checkpoint for a health refill. Now he's put himself in this scary situation, so we'll see if he's able to get a hammer, just not quite getting far enough over. I'm not sure if RNG could get the hammer far enough over that could have been a problem, or if he was safe all along, but certainly a scary moment for me. And getting chased by one of those little guys, when you've got half health, even things that you're pretty sure are not going to hurt you, suddenly become a lot scarier. Gets to the health, gets to the checkpoint, gets the payoff from not doing the health refill, and is into the final robot master fight.
Polo Knight is one hell of a robot master, actually, because all the spikes, they shovel out of the ground, but it's already dead. Like, the Chaos Orb is so strong against that boss. Like, it would justify buying it just by itself, pretty much. Superling God is on the Tinko Knight fight. Melvus is going to be right there with them right now, and Brother Main is going to start the stranded ship. So the time difference between Brother Main and Devil Tifa is actually what's happening to Brother Main. So they will lose their lead, I think, after Shovel Knight.
I think so, yeah. This is it's a pretty long level, and certainly Shovel Knight's a long game, so we're looking at 9 seconds per point, but I think we're looking at really don't want to do the math on stream, so
about 2 minutes of leeway, but like Devil Tifa is more than 2 minutes ahead right now.
Exactly. So as things stand currently, Brother Main stands to lose his lead, and he's going to fall a little bit. He didn't die. There are much worse places to fall, to be sure.
Either on a guy or on a checkpoint. Like, it's an okay place, but falling and having to restart again. Thank God it's not like one of those NES games where if you fall, whatever it is, but the ladder, you die.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not one of those. It's also not Mega Man 1 spikes where even if you have invincibility frames, touching them still kills you. So we're thankfully not going to touch any spikes there, thanks to snow. I wouldn't have thought snow would save you from spikes now that I think about it, but very helpful magical snow, perhaps helping out Brother Main, who's going to be going with the propeller dagger over the gap. Very annoying placed enemy there at the end of the room, but he handles it. And Devil Tifa is indeed continuing with the 6 health, not going for any extra, and heading into the Tower of Fate.
Tower of Fate is the equivalent of the Willy Fortress, pretty much, so the Enchantress awaits for us after the boss rush, but before that we have to go through some very specific levels. This is like the mix, like the mashup of all the best enemies and best trap they could like
death
together.
For Brother Main.
Brother Main died. I got started a little bit because their save name is Melee. Almost say Melee died. It's one of like very famous French speedrunner, and I got surprised they were actually playing right now. So Brother Main has to start all over again. And this is a costly death because they skipped the checkpoint we've seen them fall onto just earlier. So Melwest actually passes them, as we see, and they're probably like 3 minutes ahead, actually.
Right. Yeah. This is this is Brother Main was, he had the cushion from the points, and he felt good about that. But he's eaten through it and more for sure by this point. Doesn't need the gold at this point, so indicative that he's not interested in detouring back for extra health. Which is something you could maybe see him doing, hurrying to get back to the platform. The fact that he fell so far behind was bad, but then the recovery also very good. So Melwest also getting to the checkpoint. Both players are being pushed to their limits here. They have the health that they need to get to the chicken coming up, so I think they're going to be okay. Devil Tifa into the silhouetted section of the Tower of Fate. Very busy, rainy, neon green background. Which is perfect as a backdrop for this this epic conclusion with the Black Knight.
So Black Knight, this is the 3rd time you can encounter him, but we skipped the second one by being so fast. You don't have the map enemies. They can get annoying at times. And the 3rd version, Black Knight here, the refight, has a lot of powers. It got buffed by the Enchantress. Knight can fly. They can like summon meteorites. So it's not a small knight anymore, and it's going to be an interesting fight. But nice pogos. So the Melwest delay is 4 minutes compared to what we can actually see. So they beat actually Polo Knight at about 37 minutes on their timer. So it means they are 4 minutes ahead of Brother Main, which is about like 24, 25 points. So it's a big gap between the two players on the left of the screen.
If things don't change, we will see a leaderboard swap of at least one person and maybe even 2. Then again, there is still some more Shovel Knight left to play and some more very difficult levels that so far Devil Tifa has done a good job of navigating. He remains the leader, moving on to the 2nd stage, whereas everyone else is dead asleep. dreaming in this dream sequence at this point. No one is interested in more gold, so they're going to try to kill themselves as fast as possible to end it. They're also going to try to end up in the middle. You can save a little bit of time catching Shield Knight there. Minor little optimization. Devil Tifa busting through these blocks and just tearing through the Tower of Fate. You know, this is... We had some shaky moments back in Flying Machine, a little bit in Stranded Ship, but he seems to have stabilized.
Yeah, I'm just keeping like some comparison points. He enters that rainbow platforms at 42 minutes. So if if Melwest gets here before 46 minutes on our timer, that means Melwest is ahead. I'm not sure who was ahead between Devil Tifa and Melwest anymore, but Devil Tifa shows like strength right now. And yeah, they're happy with their skip right now. We can see them, but it's been a tough Shovel Knight for sure. Supreme God, Melwest, and Brother Main are pretty much at the same place, and Devil Tifa is almost at the boss rush right now.
When we started this race, I said it was going to be a good one, and you said, I'm worried, to be honest. And I think those things are not mutually exclusive. Mm-hmm. I think when things are kind of a scramble like this, something interesting can come out of it. Opportunity for heroism and comebacks, perhaps, tenacity in the face of adversity. Hopefully we get some of that, and I think we are, honestly, so far, getting a fair deal of that. Obviously you don't wish something like technical difficulties to happen, but here we are, and I think it's... oh, no, Melwest got a little too... I don't know, he could have waited a cycle or something. I haven't seen a death there before.
Yeah, me neither. Like, usually the platform disappears off screen way before you actually like can't like walk on it. But it's exactly what happened to Brother Main earlier on the Leech Yard, like the sinking platform in the ground. Like, see, no problem for Melwest. The money is no problem. They don't want to go back in town and buy anything, so that let Brother Main and Supreme God go ahead a little bit. It's still like we are still waiting for the Black Knight refight for those two, and Devil Tifa will enter the boss rush. One of my favorite scenes, obviously, of Shovel Knight, the entire series. Like, it's Shovel Knight falling here and having the scene here of all Shovel Knight in the middle and everyone banqueting, and they're just going to be a good sport and go like one by one.
Yeah.
Tinker Knight first. It's a random order. Obviously, the mobile gear is there to help with that, and then let's
on
go
to the second phase. Going with some pogos here. Not opting to go with Dust Knuckles. Need to be a little more conscious of your magic usage. You get magic refills between every second boss in the boss rush. Health refill after every boss, served up during the dinner in the middle of the room. Missed the charge, so he's going to have to wait out this attack and the next projectile that comes out of that arm, and should be able to finish it pretty quick. I don't know if he's going to charge. No, he's going to double pogo, play it safe. Actually going to go back to the shoulder.
He looks annoyed. Like, it is one, like in the Explodatorium, one of those skips. You can do it, like, but when you fail, it's so, like, it's the slashes of shame, like having to go back to, above Tinker. Devil Tifa using the Chaos Orb, and everybody else is on the Black Knight refight. Supreme God is actually ahead. Brother Main is actually last of what you can see, and Devil Tifa is ahead of Melwest, I'm pretty sure, showing what the timer being at 45 minutes already. Polar Knight is sure to be one of the first three bosses you encounter, because it was deemed, like, considered so dangerous because of those spikes that can one-shot you, but, well, in a speedrun, it's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, they can still be a problem, but you're able to dish it out as good as those spikes can take it, pretty much. Very quick cleanup from Devil Tifa. Melwest had some problems on the Black Knight fight.
This is surprising. Like, Melwest obviously, like, did not fully recover from, like, the technical difficulties, and I'm pretty bummed out. Like, they lost a lot of time and died multiple times where it's not supposed to happen. Like, they got a perfect second fight. Like, they show that they know how to play the game. Like, it's not what they deserve. I'm super sad for them. I hope they can come back strong tomorrow and just blow everybody else, like, with skills on the remaining 5 other games.
All right, it's okay to have your favorites. It's just don't tell them. And then
everybody's my favorite, actually. Like, it's
yeah.
Whoever comes last. Yeah, I'm raining for.
We got real cheering for Brother Main in our headset off stage, and you know what? I'm maybe with him. I think maybe if I had to pick a favorite, I don't know. Definitely everyone though worthy of praise. Devil Tifa very far along now in the boss rush.
Oh
to
no!
left.
Super Lingard did the
thing!
The thing, yeah.
Oh no!
So if you let the ladder go early, you are going to be able to jump out of the ladder a little bit earlier. So the players have been doing that consistently since the beginning of the run. But if you do it too early, you will let go of the ladder. And the only place where letting go of the ladder will kill you is that specific auto-scroller. Thankfully, the checkpoint's right to be before that, but that's one of those facepalm moments. Like, why did I try to save time? Since it's an auto-scroller, you can go faster than the auto-scroller. Devil is almost done with the Plague Knight. Like, the crowd is actually cheering for them. For Devil not for Plague Knight, I think. I'm not sure. And Devil is done.
They are cheering, so yes, they are indeed cheering for Devil Tifa. Mel West ran into a bit more trouble earlier in the Tower of Fate, and he dropped down early.
No!
He's not going to be able to save himself. Maybe if he had gone left, maybe. But
it's tough to recover.
It's
like
incredibly tough.
You have to get the good like results. Brother Main is actually going to benefit from that a lot because they were like looking at dropping like second by 10 to 20 points, and now it looks like they could get there. Wow, Mel West is like...
He's turned around. He needs to get there, face the other way, then
Yep.
charge. And this is tricky,
But
and he is going to get it. Okay.
Yeah. The problem is when you start slashing, if you release a little bit too early, if you double tap because you're shaky, you are going actually to release a charge and a slash and actually push the platform. But I mean, starting his boss rush a little bit earlier than Super Lingard. The boss rush has killed players, so everybody's quite tense here. But I mean, killed Mole Knight. Polar Knight should be okay, but it has killed players as well. I'm always worried, but the Chaos Orb deals a lot of damage. But I mean, taking a first hit. We are halfway through the stage. Be careful not to jump at the spikes. Yeah, okay,
right.
we're good.
He gets the kill.
Now
Mel
what-
West, we get the numbers in 1 minute behind Devil Tifa, who is currently shaping up to be our leader. He is, he is our leader, but shaping up to be our winner for Shovel Knight. Heading into Enchantress 1, he's got the gear out. That's going to sit there for later for 1 hit of damage. Coming up
There we
right
go.
there. Gets it in. Fantastic opening to phase
one
1.
last- Nice!
Yeah!
Oh, he looked super pumped. Like, that is not easy. Like, the first cycle kill is very, very hard to execute. You have to get everything perfect. The ping pong with the projectiles, your mobile gear, your Chaos Orb, and that's something that Melwis cannot do because they don't have the green orbs. So it's actually like very well done. We are looking at almost sub 50 time. It's not going to get there quite, but everybody had so much trouble. I don't remember Devil Tifa actually dying too much.
Yeah, there might have been one, maybe, but was displaying a lot of shakiness in things other than deaths. Doubling back to pick up weird items in weird ways. But you're right, had avoided the major time losses that come from deaths. We'll see how he closes it out here. The Brother Dagger doing a ton of damage. The timer is ticking. I don't think he's going to get that sub 50, that lovely little round number.
It's actually possible.
It's possible.
Like,
It's possible.
it's like
58,
1, 2,
59.
yeah, it is.
Nice.
It actually is. Like, it is over 200 points on Shovel Knight. Like, it is a great run. It's exactly what they needed because they're currently in 3rd place behind Brother Main 1st and Melwest 2nd, and like everybody's cheering in the crowd for Devil Tifa because like you want a good comeback backstory, I guess.
It's been said so much that it's actually become a bit of an inside joke at the consistency of Devil Tifa, the ability to perform under pressure from behind.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it because it's true.
It's not a lie. Yeah, it's not a myth. It is actually happening. Brother Main on the other side, like were confident when they had 25 point lead for Shovel Knight, even if that were to go wrong. 25 point is a good cushion. The 12 is not quite enough apparently, but Melwis also had trouble, so it's, I don't know. Melwis is like halfway through the boss rush. Brother Main is almost done. I hope Brother Main killed Spectre Knight fast enough and not die to it, but it's not the most like worrisome boss.
Yeah, you're concerned about maybe a second or two as opposed to the massive minutes time loss that comes from the death. So he is able to wrap it up. Shovel Knight can be a battle for seconds like that, but not this race. This race is everyone has been playing from a rattled state for one reason or another. So the concerns shift from, oh, I missed this hit or that hit to, oh, I almost died, right? So, people the mindset's maybe thinking a little differently. One last fight here.
Melwest died.
Oh my goodness.
They died like they were like 3 bosses remaining. Like they lost so much. Like everybody has to cheer for Melwest, and it's not on that game that they're going to come back as strong as I was expecting. Maybe everybody is going to it's going to be everybody like on the first place pretty much after 5 games. That would be like an insane start for day 2 actually, but Devil Tifa may be able to catch up. I don't know. Brother Main has to pay close attention because you can actually die on that room. It's way easier than it looks.
Easier to die than it looks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's we've seen it happen. It's something about the fact that it's an inanimate object that's coming at you in these blocks makes you think that it shouldn't be a threat, but it's actually legit tricky to get going, even with the set pattern. He's going now on the mobile gear, on the ride, showing some lightheartedness, going back and forth and ducking with the little leg bobs that you can do on Shovel Knight on his final run. I think it's a good sign. Here in position on the left, we saw a fantastic Enchantress 1 from Devil Tifa. We're seeing a very good one. Misses the charge.
No!
That's... Look at his face. He knows how good it was, and he knows that he threw it away.
He can do it again. Let's go. But you have to recollect from that. This is so frustrating. Like, he had the perfect bounces, slashes, the orb, the 3 slashes again.
He is doing it again.
Yeah, he is. No.
Okay, the charge again this time, though. He doesn't fall, and he gets it.
2 times in a row.
Yeah. He just wanted to show he could do it twice in a row. That's all it was.
Yeah, maybe. Wow. Everybody's leaving that race right now. It's pretty intense. So the guy working in the background, making everything here possible, reading up, Prosper and Le Chamut are also leaving the race and commentating with us right now. It's pretty cool. So Spilling God did not have such a good Enchantress first phase, so actually struggling to get to survive here, waiting for the Enchantress to come back.
Cannot get hit anymore.
Yeah, they have to pay close attention.
Going for the reflect. From the top down. Another death from the Enchantress. Meanwhile, phase 2, we can see those gold bags being
from
pretty
phase
annoying.
1,
We'll see how he's able to do on phase 2. Gets a lot of damage, enough to trigger the second phase. Much easier from here on out. Less reliance on Shield Knight. Getting you up there. 2 more hits. 1, 2.
Good.
Brother Main is going to close it out. He's probably a little bit disappointed with a number of things that happened in that run, but he is done, and so he can breathe a sigh of relief and maybe start to mentally discard some of what happened and focus for tomorrow, or maybe not think about it at all.
Yeah, 4 minutes and 20 seconds behind Devil Tifa. Do the math. It's 9 points per second. That's a lot. That's a massive amount they lost on one single game. Melwest as well. Even though they are the timer says only 51 minutes for them. Not having started the end of the game yet is pretty bad. I'm sad because doing great on Shovel Knight would have meant that the 2K was possible for Melwest, but now it's going to be a little bit harder. Spilling God starting the Enchantress phase 2. The timer is also shifted for Spilling God. I don't know by how much, a little bit less than Melwest, maybe 2 minutes. So Spilling God is actually maybe ahead of Brother Main. So the timer is better than it looks.
We'll see. Shovel Knight getting him the boost, getting the pogos, and gets the propeller daggers nice and high, so he was able to get all the hits he needed. And dropping down here, just needs 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2.
6. Nice. Shield Knight is actually so annoying when you don't need the knight anymore. You don't need the shield. You'd rather have no one there to make a movement and get your attention.
Yeah, sometimes she shields the Enchantress from you when she comes down, and you want to pogo down, and she comes up with the shield. Thanks for helping out, Shield Knight. She does her best, all right?
Yeah, of course.
Cut her some slack. You wouldn't be able to do it without her. She wouldn't come down unless you had the phase 1, which we'll see. Speaking of phase 1's, Enchantress coming up for Melwest had a number of problems, stemming from a controller keybind thing that obviously started affecting him mentally, threw him off. was not quite able to recover. A couple of weird deaths in some places. So we'll see how this Enchantress fight goes. We've seen some incredible Enchantress fights, honestly, so far. Very rarely do you get to see that opening go so smoothly. And without the Chaos Orb, he's really going to have to work for it. A nice charge there.
Wow, this is actually very
wow,
good.
Wow, 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 wow,
yeah,
wow.
No problem. Like, it was even faster than the other guys that had the Chaos Orb. Like, just perfect charge slashes everywhere and you're done. Like, damn, those guys, those runners proved, like, worked on some very specific tricks, and like clearly the Enchantress phase 1 is one of them. So Melwest saves Shield Knight. We're pretty happy to have Shield Knight with us right now. They're going to be, like, very important. You said it, to get there for earlier, but
we'll see how much she decides on cooperating. Obviously needs to wait a little bit, charging up the cooldown on the shield or whatever it is. Dodging some of these attacks. Some players will slash them, some players will jump. Melwest is jumping rope. He's up there, and he's going to be able to get back up there, so that was just a minor little scare. He's pretty low, so I don't think he got enough there. Yeah, he's going to need a second phase.
That's not great. They tried to go for the actually one cycle strat on phase 2. Like, you want to bounce on Shield Knight multiple times, because if you hit or pogo on the Enchantress phase 2 more than 4 times, it stops.
Yeah.
So the final time is going to be actually sub 55 for Melwest. So we'll see exactly the details. We'll show the leaderboard, obviously. But my guess is that everybody but Devil Tifa is pretty annoyed right now with Shovel Knight.
Yeah. I mean, well, even Devil Tifa was probably, we saw him like glancing over to the side, trying to see what was happening with some of the other players. So I don't think anyone is, even if your run went well, you wouldn't be happy that in comparison that, to someone whose run didn't go so well because of something like that. Yep. So all the players will maybe be a little frustrated. These things happen. It's a live show.
Yeah, obviously you have to be prepared for that as well. Like,
absolutely, everybody
there, and also, like, you're not on your setup and something like that might happen. So it is a different setting than usual, like for speed gaming tournaments and the UD in general. But it is also pretty cool to be live. So to be honest, like, everybody resonated in the room here with the runners and the Shovel Knight performances. Like, everybody was pumped and sad for them and excited when something good happens. So it is like, look, yeah, just give us a quick tour, reel me up. It's like everybody is lived with us. It's pretty cool.
I can't get the crowd's attention. They can't hear us. The French commentary is being piped out to the theater. But you can take a look at their reactions to the other commentators who are doing a fantastic job across the stage. To our left, it has been a pleasure. Yeah, there we go.
Yay.
There we go. They love us.
And you can see how close the runners are to the crowd. Actually, like, they play with us. Like, they're in front of the crowd making the show. So it's actually pretty cool. And
we're going to do some more interviews. We got to find out how these players feel. We got Brother Main here. Obvious question. I was thinking about, what am I going to ask them about? And then Shovel Knight happened, and it became very clear. I need to ask you about what happened with Shovel Knight. Where are you at mentally?
It was absolutely terrible, but I'm still pretty happy somehow.
It's over, or
it's done. I don't have to play Shovel Knight anymore. It's so great. This is the biggest event tonight for me. I don't have to play Shovel Knight.
Really? Well, is that a knock against the game, or just the stress of having to compete in it?
Yeah, I'm just stressed, and I'm sorry. No, the game, I like the game, but the speedrun is terrible for me. I don't like it.
It is a tough game. It has been tough for everyone today. Yeah. So I think anybody could understand, like, being happy not to have played Shovel Knight in that specific situation ever again.
Yeah.
Enchantress won. We saw Devil Tifa. I don't know if you saw. Are you looking to your left or right to see what people are doing?
I try, but on Shovel Knight it's quite complicated, so not much. I know Tifa did a one cycle on Enchantress.
Yeah.
Because everybody was screaming, so
right.
That's why you did it twice, right?
Yeah, to show him up.
Just
oh, you did it once? Yeah, hold my beer. All right. Nice job. You said you were feeling pretty good about your placement after the break. You did really well on the first two games. how does that? I mean, you probably already answered in French, but is it really possible to ride on that confidence of I did so well in those first 2 games that even Shovel Knight I can tackle it?
Yeah, that definitely helped because when I died like 5 times, I think. Every time I died, I was like, I have some margin, so I'm okay. Just play normally. Everything will be fine. And I don't know the results now because there was something happened in the race. There was like delays and stuff. So I don't know where I'm at, but I can't wait to see.
Honestly, we can't wait to see either. We're a little unsure exactly how it's going to shake out. We're trying to do the math, trying to multiply 9 seconds per point by some number of seconds. So we'll take a look at the leaderboards in a little bit all together, I suppose. But five games are done now. What is your headset, your routine like tonight, tomorrow morning? Like I know everyone is together now, and they're all in the same place. So I know people are getting together and having a lot of fun. Is that going to be your focus, or is there going to be a part of you that's thinking about the next set of games?
I'm going to think about the next set of games, but I'm going still to drink tonight with my friends, and we're going to talk about all the stuff that happened today, all the mistakes especially, and yeah, I'm going to try to take pressure off tonight and not think too much about it.
It's probably the smart plan, I guess, like trying to forget a little bit about everything as long as you have a good night of sleep. Tomorrow it starts at 1 p.m. So it still leaves you the opportunity to like have a good night of sleep, trying maybe de-resting. If you had to de-rest like one game, what would it be?
Inertia.
That's a good choice.
DKC, but most likely Inertia.
Inertia's been a game that a lot of people have struggled to really get the really solid run. The not quite PB, but maybe pretty close. And then we saw Super Link God, I think it was in the grand finals, was able to get that run. So, do you think he'll be able to do it again? Are you worried that Inertia is going to be something where people can overtake you?
Yeah, I'm definitely worried he's going to have a very solid time. But if he gets a solid time and I fail badly, like at the grand finals, then that's my fault, not
right.
I should play better.
Right. All right. Well, on that slightly dour note, we'll let you go. That was a fantastic end to the Shovel Knight. At least the Enchantress fights were a treat to watch. Thanks so much for coming to talk to us, and best of luck.
Thank you for commenting, and yeah, have a good night.
It's my pleasure.
So next up we'll have Devil Tifa. I'll do the translation once again. He looks pretty happy, actually.
So yeah, I saw you guys missed the high five just over there, but that was a great Shovel Knight run. The Enchantress fight to close it out. You seemed a little distracted. Did you know what was going on with the other players?
Sorry, I totally blanked because they're playing with the Yoshi plushie on the other side, and I got totally distracted. Yeah, I'm super sorry. Oh, and plus, the results are in. Might you go again?
Let's talk to Devil Tifa, and then we'll do the leaderboard results in just a little bit. You need to do a lot of translating now.
So, I'm sorry, I totally.
How Shovel Knight? Were you aware of the technical issues that happened?
Oh yeah. So Shovel Knight a été un peu difficile pour Ben West et Super Link God avec des bindings. Ils n'avaient pas fait les settings proprement, donc ils se sont mis en pause. Est-ce que ça t'a dérangé? Est-ce que tu les as vus? Est-ce que ça a influencé ta run? Parce que en gros, tu étais à Treasure Knight à ce moment-là, et c'était on sentait que c'était pas forcément normal la manière dont ça s'est passé depuis à ce moment-là.
J'ai vu à côté qu'il y avait des petits problèmes de setup, mais j'ai juste jeté des coups d'œil, j'ai essayé de rester le plus concentré possible, et ça s'est bien passé au final, j'ai réussi à rester concentré.
So Devil Tifa noticed definitely that something happened, but tried to totally forget about everything, stay focused on his own run, and just like it worked for them. But just ignoring everything else seemed to do the trick.
It was it's hard when that happens. So that was a really good job. Shovel Knight aside, everyone kind of struggled a little bit with Shovel Knight. How do you feel about the way the other 4 games went for you today?
tout le monde a des difficultés pour Shovel Knight, donc on va juste se focaliser sur les 4 autres jeux. Comment ça s'est passé pour toi?
C'était mitigé. Les premiers jeux, j'ai eu beaucoup de mal, j'ai mal commencé. Et après à Metal Slug, ça allait mieux. Et petit à petit, je commençais à mieux reprendre les jeux en main. Et c'est là où Shovel Knight, justement, j'ai fait une de mes meilleures perfs en race, même si c'est pas la meilleure. Et c'était une journée plutôt bonne, je trouve. Vraiment même bonne, très bonne.
Tough beginning, so but he tramped up. Metal Slug got his confidence started, and then like it got better and better until Shovel Knight, which is one of the best races performance they ever had. It's not the best, but clearly it showed confidence. So overall, Devil Tifa is pretty happy with how everything go, but it's not done yet.
Right. That was my last question, or I don't know, third question, but I was wondering, what are you thinking about for tomorrow's games? Is there something you're worried about? Something you might want to try to get in some last-minute practice or something?
Qu'est-ce que tu penses des jeux de demain? Est-ce que tu vas devoir pratiquer un petit peu? Quel est ton état d'esprit pour la suite?
Demain, il y a des jeux que j'aime beaucoup. J'espère les avoir encore dans les doigts. Mais il y a Spectra Ball qui me fait extrêmement peur et qui est vraiment à la fin. Et Castlevania, les manipulations de RNG, j'ai vraiment peur aussi là-dessus. Je pense que je vais quand même essayer de pratiquer un petit peu Castlevania ce soir et de faire de mon mieux possible.
So, good games tomorrow, but also some scary ones. Spectrable is the number 1 on the list, but also Castlevania and the Manips. Plus, it goes at the very end, so it's going to be like in a pyramid. Like today went up, and then tomorrow is going to go down towards like Spectrable and Castlevania. So definitely trying to get some last time practice today on Area of Sorrow.
Yeah, so the results are in. So let's you can stay and we'll take a look at how you did along with everyone else.
So, Devil Tifa, how do you feel? Comment tu te sens? T'es passé premier.
Très content. Je m'y attendais pas.
Super happy, doesn't expected it. Yeah, it is a surprise to me as well.
Yeah, I knew there was going to be movement on the leaderboard. I did not know Devil Tifa was going to end up number 1.
On s'y attendait vraiment pas non plus.
And that there was going to be kind of a gap between Mel West and Super Link God.
Et on est aussi surpris par le trou, le fossé qui se creuse entre Mel West et Super Link God.
Oui, après, il y a même pas 15 points d'écart. Moi, c'est vraiment pas énorme pour moi. Tout peut encore complètement se jouer. J'ai 3 adversaires redoutables en face de moi, donc j'ai encore. C'est faisable, mais ça va être très très dur.
The gap is actually super small to Devil Tifa eyes, and everybody is super strong. Bartamain, Mel West, and Spilling God are fierce competitors, so he's not confident at all, even being first at the end of first day.
All right. What do you think? What do you think is the game that Shovel Knight was pretty scary, but you pulled through? What is the game that you feel like you're really solid at? Even when things start to go wrong for other people, it's something that you've really got inside you and you're going to be able to do well.
Shovel Knight fait super peur, mais c'est quoi l'autre jeu de demain où tu vas être sûr que tu peux t'en sortir sans problème, quelle que soit la situation, le jeu où tu vas vraiment y réussir? S'il y en a un.
If there is a game.
Yeah.
C'est compliqué. Parce que
Complicated question.
Tous les jeux sont difficiles indépendamment. Mais celui où je veux vraiment faire une très bonne perf, c'est Donkey Kong.
Every game is difficult in its own right, but the one game they really care about, like Devil Tifa love DKC, so that's the one game. Donkey Kong Country has to go well, and I think it's like your favorite game of even like in English it's obvious, and so that's the game that matters the most. C'est le jeu le plus important.
Oui, pour moi, oui.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us, Devil Tifa. That's gonna do it
Merci.
for our
Thank you.
first 5 games. Best of luck as we wrap it up.
Yeah, everybody is actually living, like getting ready to hang out together with speedrunners. Tomorrow, be sure to check it out. We know it's the TwitchCon and GDQX at the same time. So big shout out to other people doing speedrun right now. But tomorrow the action is starting again. Live on Speed Gaming, on Carmicola, Twitch in Russian, and in the French restream as well. I'm super hyped. I'm super psyched to see the result, the outcome. I was not expecting those results, like from Devil Tifa, Brother Main, Mel West, and Super Lingard. And who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
I know. Do reminder that we're a little earlier tomorrow. The 1 p.m. was standard time, so it's 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow to find the finals, to find these final 5 games. If you want to find out what happens, if you want to see if Devil Tifa can hold on to the top spot, if Super Link God can come back, it's going to be a good one. I can't wait. I hope you guys can't wait, and I hope to see you tomorrow.
Have a good one. And yeah, tomorrow is just going to be a blast.